Let's see if we're working. Guys, get excited. Get excited. If you guys are joining me, my name is Destini Taylor. Welcome to Destini Unfiltered. And I'm trying something new. I think it's important to figure out a way to incorporate what it is that you do on these other platforms to YouTube. Well, for me at least. But I think as a creator, that's just something that's very important, and that's what we're doing today. So I'm not sure how everything is going to turn out, but that's all right because we're going to try it together. We're going to figure out together. So just to kind of explain to you how I did this, I am currently using OBS Studio. So what I did was I connected my iPhone because I always wanted to figure out how do people connect their phone to the YouTube where they can do the display. I think that's pretty cool. So of course here I am as a creator and new YouTuber trying to figure things out. So I basically, in OBS Studio, there is an option to select the video capture. So that's what I did. I selected the video capture, and because my iPhone is connected, I was able to connect the iPhone. Then I have the webcam connected. I'm using the Logitech HD 1080p if you guys are interested in the quality of it. I'm still getting the lighting together. I see that we need some work in that area, but hey, we're here. I'm hoping that the sound is good. I have the headphones on so I can tell if it's a little bit too loud or not loud enough. It sounds good to me, but I guess we'll know later on since we're live and I can't test that right now. So what we're going to do today is I want to read you chapters 1 to 3 of my book. This is The Words of My Soul, the interactive book, and basically it is a compilation of poetry that I wrote about my significant other. And when the pandemic hit in 2020, I basically went back to my poetry and analyzed the mindset that I was in. I wanted to just revisit those emotions, and I'm really big on self-reflection. So I took those moments to self-reflect and just write out some comments from the author, about how I felt, why I felt that way, what did I feel like my challenges were, my struggles were, things of that nature. So I used that information to create a book called The Words of My Soul. And basically the interactive version, which is the most recent release, I repurposed that information, and I thought to myself, you know what? I feel like my audience should be asking themselves questions as they're reading this. And that's what I did. I created an interactive version of it. So today what I want to do is I want to read you chapters 1 through 3. And then what I also want to do is read you some content that I haven't published, but I do think it's important to give to you guys. I want people to recognize the self-sabotaging behaviors that they have, which I'm guilty of myself. And I'm basically overcoming those self-sabotaging behaviors by going live with you guys, going through these experiences, not knowing what's going to work, what will work, what won't work. I'm not quite sure. But the bottom line is, no matter what that is, you have to keep pushing. You have to keep trying to figure it out. You cannot allow these self-sabotaging behaviors to prevent you from trying new things, putting yourself out there. Whether you make a mistake, don't make a mistake. You won't know until you just go for it. And that's my goal. I do see that the microphone looks a little high. Okay, so I'm hoping that sounds a little bit better. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I do want to tell you, I know I keep saying just go ahead and get started because this is not edited, by the way, because we're live, right? So I do want to tell you, by the way, that in Clubhouse right now, so it's just me. So I started a group. It's just me in there. And I feel like a lot of people would see that and be like, man, I'll just close the group. And I'm guilty of that. I think I tried to do a group before. I had it open for like 5 minutes. Nobody joined. So I just said whatever. So this will be my first official follow through on hosting my own Clubhouse. But because I have not told a lot of people, right, nobody can come unless I invite them, and nobody can come unless I find new creative ways to get the buzz out, right? So that's why I wanted to link this up to YouTube, so when people do come into Clubhouse, if they do decide to show up, that way I can invite them in and they can have an interactive experience with me on YouTube, because I was able to, if you see at the top here, where it says Destiny Unfiltered, I can't really point to it, but if you see where it says Destiny Unfiltered, there is a way on Clubhouse where you can link your YouTube or any other link that you prefer, so anyone that joins the room can see that. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with how Clubhouse works, I'm pretty new as far as the functionality and doing what I'm doing now, so I'm kind of figuring that out as I go along. I haven't figured out how to put the replays on, so that's something else that I'll figure out. But for now, let's just go ahead and get started with me reading you chapters 1 through 3 of my book, and I'll also read to you something that I wrote that I think is important for you to know, especially as a creator. So chapter 1 is titled A Message from My Heart. Puddle of assumptions, because they couldn't read you. Silent words missed, safe behind a kiss. You probably stopped talking because they didn't believe you, accusing you of that, accusing you of this. But you don't have to talk, because I can see you clearly. And I don't ask for promises, I go with how I'm feeling. Ever since I met you, I could see it in your eyes, connected with your smile, impressed by your style. And when we hit the dance floor for the first time, I kissed your soft lips, hoping soon you would be mine. I knew you had some drinks and I didn't want you to drive home, so I said you can come with me and sleep until the morn. I hope your first impression wasn't that I was all, like how could she trust the one she doesn't even know? Let me set it straight, you were the first and you're the last. I'm sure that you've discerned that I'm a woman full of class. Comments from the, guys, let me just calm down and continue reading, because we are not at comments to the author yet. All right, so with the space that I was in, I felt like meeting you was fate. I seized the opportunity before it was too late. It wasn't about sex from day one. I showed I cared. I was asking about your needs and trying to be there. Chemistry inevitable like this was meant to be. Definitive reasons I'm with you, and clarity why you are with me. Obstacles will come, my love, and obstacles will go. But when it's something real, you just have to let it grow. I hear what you don't say. I feel what you convey. I never will assume. I'll ask if I'm confused. I'm completely in the root of the tree. I believe in you. Just please believe in me. Comments from the author. Have you ever met someone that takes you completely out of your character? You get so caught up in the moment and that euphoric feeling you've never felt before that you just go with it. The next day comes and you're replaying last night's event in your head and starting to become mortified of what the person you had such a connection with might think of you. Well, I have good news and bad news. Let me give you the bad news first. The bad news is you cannot control what someone else is thinking. You can go through the story of what you don't normally do, that this was a unique circumstance that occurred, and so on and so forth. But whatever seed was planted is planted. The good news is time reveals your character and therefore will determine how that seed grows. Besides, it takes at least 6 months to be able to discern if the person you meet is in fact that person. I can't begin to tell you how many people I thought I was meeting and then they took a hiatus and left some idiot in charge. I was this caged and broken person that had just removed the chains before I met the person who inspired these words. I was getting to know the person he was getting to know at the same time. How can you explain to someone you just met about who someone you just met is? How can you explain a feeling that you have never felt? You can't. And that is exactly my point. A time for reflection. I want you to think of a time where you made a bad first impression on someone you liked. Do you feel you were judged incorrectly? Were you given the opportunity to change that person's perspective of you? What steps did you take in order to change that person's perspective? How long did it take for you to change that person's perspective of you? So let me just talk about that for a moment. There are going to be moments in your life when you're going to meet people and the impression that happens is the impression that happens. There's nothing that you could do about it. It could be that you were awkward, you were nervous. It could be a number of factors. And what I want you to understand is it happens. Usually when you meet someone, you can't really know right away if that's the person that you're meeting. You don't know if it's the representative. You don't know if they're putting on this facade. You just don't know. So I want you to understand that that's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. So whatever that impression is that impression. However, with consistency and over time, a person will be able to see if your intentions are pure. You know, if this is the person, if you are the person that they in fact met, or if that was just a fluke. And there's nothing that can determine that, like I said, except time and consistency. So I don't want you to get too bent out of shape if you met someone and you were nervous and you're like, oh my gosh, I made a total complete fool out of myself. I don't want you to really focus too much on that, because it happens, right? But as you get to know that person, you will be less awkward, right? It's just like, for example, this scenario here. Your first impression, if you're just joining my channel, may be like, what is going on? This girl is like reading, but she's making mistakes. The audio may not be good. The lighting may not be good. But here's the thing. It's okay, because I'm determined to just be consistent and just to learn. And I can't learn if I don't go all in, right? If I don't go live and have these experiences, how can I learn from them? How can I get better? So for me, it's a matter of, I can't really focus too much on the first initial experience to the point where I'm like, it scares me from doing it again. What I have to do is go ahead, dive in, embrace those moments, and then learn from it, watch it, and see what I can do better next time. Is it something where I need to prepare? Is it equipment? Do I need to move things around? I won't know it unless I go ahead and record it and then see what I can change. And I feel like that's a lot of challenges. That's a challenge that a lot of creatives and a lot of people in general have. They're so scared about just going in and worrying about, what people are going to think. What are they going to say? People are going to say whatever they're going to say. The bottom line is you have to just keep on pushing forward. And that's what I plan to do. I actually was a co-host in a mastermind group meeting yesterday. And one of the key things that I thought about was telling myself, man, I keep trying this, I keep trying that, I'm doing this, I'm doing all these different things, and wondering why things aren't working out. But what I had to, bring forward to the group, and what I'm going to mention to you is this. Instead of focusing on all these different things that you're doing, right? You're doing this, you're doing that. Sometimes you have to focus on what you are not doing. What is it that you're not doing consistently? What is it that you haven't tried? And my thing was, man, I haven't truly hosted a Clubhouse group and followed through with it. I haven't figured out how all these different platforms work and how to take, put my iPhone up here so you guys can see the display. I haven't tried it. So today is the first day of me trying that, seeing what's working. How can I capitalize on these platforms and bring it to my YouTube channel and really add content, really give you guys valuable content and just be myself? How can I put this information out there, learn from it, make it better? I can't do it unless I try. So that's the whole point of today, is for me to put this information out here, see what's working, what's not working, what I need to change, how I can grow. Because I'm telling you, as I'm on this journey to 100K, I have to, you have to really just embrace that person that you want to be. If you want to be that person that makes that 100K this year, then something has to change. If you haven't made 100K yet, you got to change something. You got to switch it up. And then the next goal will be like, all right, now how do we turn this 100K to 6 figures? That'll be the next milestone. You know what I mean? And you won't be able to do it unless you just go for it. So it's kind of like me reading the chapters to you and then also kind of giving you advice, giving you some gems that I've learned along the way. So I feel like whoever watches this, you'll have that experience, and then of course you'll be able to have me go through these chapters with you. So you'll experience my book and then experience who I am as a motivational speaker, as a writing coach, as a best-selling author. You'll get to basically experience all of those in one. As far as going back to a time for reflection, when I asked the question, what steps did you take in order to change that person's perspective? So are you being honest with yourself? Because I feel like if you're being honest with yourself, those are the most authentic steps that you can take towards showing someone, hey, I know that when you met me on this day, like when you first met me, it appeared this way, right? And maybe that there were contributing factors that presented that perception, right? You know, maybe I was nervous, whatever it was. I can't change that, okay? But what I can do is continue to be myself, and those are the steps. As long as you're being truthful to yourself and taking those steps towards making sure that you are being true to yourself, that person will see you. If that person doesn't see you, it's okay, right? But a person who genuinely is trying to get to know you will see who you are. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. All right, so let's go to chapter 2. So chapter 2, hard decisions. Leave because your heart will stay and love will overcome. Stay so I can prove to you that I'm indeed the one. Leave because you're coming back and this is not goodbye. Stay because my love is real and this is worth the try. Leave if inside your heart I'll stay and you won't let me go. Stay so we can have a chance to see how this will grow. Leave, but later send for me. I'll stay right by your side. Stay and have a little faith that God will be our guide. Leave the state, but don't leave us no matter how many miles. Stay because when you're with me, all I ever bring are smiles. Leave because I support your need to be a better man. Stay because I do believe that fate gave us a chance. Comments from the author. Did you ever think that you knew what love was and then someone came along and showed you that whatever definition you thought you had for love was not love at all? It was not until the very thought that what I had found was about to be removed that I discovered the true meaning of love. It is a pure emotion with no judgment that exudes happiness at the highest level. This is the emotion that you fight for because you don't know if you will ever run across it again. I was fighting for love when I wrote those words. I suggest that if you ever come across this emotion that gives you an endless smile, allows you to be yourself, and time never fades, hold on to it and fight to keep it. During that time I wrote this poem, there was a possibility that he would have to leave the country for work. We had only been dating for a couple of months, but I already knew he was my soulmate. I knew that I loved him, and if he did in fact have to leave, I had to plant the seeds of our future with 3 words. He would hear the words, I love you, from me, and through consistent action, he would know my words to be true. A time for reflection. Think of a time where you really liked someone and you were scared to tell that person how you feel. Why were you scared to say how you feel? Have you ever missed the opportunity to tell someone how you feel? If so, how did you miss that opportunity? What are the advantages and disadvantages of telling someone how you feel? All right, so let's talk about that for a moment. I wish I could figure out how to get this the sounds on here to kind of like, hold on, let me see. Is that better? I think that's a little better. I don't know. I hope so. So we'll see, guys. So let's talk about this for a moment, the time for reflection. So think of a time where you really like someone and you were scared to tell that person how you feel. The first question I asked was, why were you scared to say how you feel? I think that a lot of us, and it could be based on your experiences, right? Your past experiences. Maybe you told someone how you felt, you were vulnerable, and they used that information against you. You know, they made you feel uncomfortable. So now you put yourself in a shell, and you are now scared to tell other people how you feel because you don't know how that they're going to react. Listen to me carefully, guys. Once again, I want to reiterate, always be true to yourself. Do not be scared about how someone will react to how you feel. You feel how you feel. It's one of those things, again, as far as stepping outside your comfort level. I say this often, that you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That is the only way that you'll grow. That is the only way that you will learn how to live unapologetically. That is the only way that you will remove yourself from your current situation and elevate into something more. You cannot be worried about what someone's going to say, what someone thinks about how you feel. You feel how you feel. And I get it. You know, I've been there where I've expressed how I feel to someone, and perhaps maybe they don't feel the same way, or maybe they're offended by what I say. But once again, I do try to be an effective communicator. I try to communicate with people in a way that I would prefer someone to communicate with me, right? I try to take in consideration how you may take the words that I say. So I try to just be very detailed about what the message is that I'm conveying, so you can understand, you can get what I'm trying to put out to you. Asking yourself these questions about, you know, like, have you ever missed the opportunity to tell someone how you feel? You know, have you done that? You know, this is all about self-reflecting. And if you have done that, why did you do that? You know, how did you feel that you missed that opportunity? Once again, you cannot allow your past experiences with someone else to affect your possible potential new experiences with someone else. You know, you can block your blessings that way. You block the opportunities that are meant for you to have because you're scared. And we can't really operate out of fear. We don't want to do things out of fear. Okay, so I just want you, the purpose of this, you know, this time for reflection is for you to really think about, you know, where you are now, what experiences made you feel like, man, I don't want to, okay, I get it. Like, I don't want to feel this way again, but I want you to understand that by not feeling this way again, right? Those emotions that you're feeling, the answer is not to not be myself. The answer is not to let me just never express myself again, never tell anyone how I feel again. People get like that, you know. These are traumas that you go through, and then you plant these seeds. And like I said, you have to really just actively just hit that. Like, take control. Take back control over your life. You know, I get it. You're scared. It's scary. It's scary telling someone how you feel and not knowing. I understand that. However, we can't operate in fear. And you'll hear me say that time and time again. We can't operate in fear. We have to just go for it. You know what I mean? We have to just go for it and see what happens, and understand that, you know, when you tell someone something, you tell someone how you feel, we have to understand in our brain that there is a possibility it will not be received. And that's okay, because that's something that you cannot control. But what you can control is, listen, I feel this way, even if it's good. If someone harms you, they hurt you, they do something that offends you, you have to be able to say how you feel and stand your ground. And if that person is not receptive to it, that's not anything that you have control over. You have control over your delivery of a message. You have control over getting the message out. You have control over those factors, okay? How people will react, you don't have control over that. You just have control over whether you take the time to analyze, you know what, did I convey this effectively? You know, did I have an attitude? You know, how was my delivery? You can, of course, you know, assess those factors and then be better the next time, on your delivery. Maybe you were too harsh, maybe you came across cold, whatever it is. But I strongly urge you to not allow what you think will happen prevent you from being yourself at all times, okay? Prevent you from speaking up from yourself, prevent you from telling someone how you feel, okay? I don't want you to miss out on opportunities to meet really, really great people by doing that. Just like me, I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to be able to share, my gift of speaking and my words with people who really need to hear them, by being worried or concerned about, man, if this doesn't work out, if technology gets in my way, are people gonna, not be receptive to me? What, should I not do the video? Maybe I should wait. No, I shouldn't wait. The time is now. And so that's what we're doing on this fine Sunday. We're going for it. We're going all in. Okay. I can't wait to replay this back so I can see what I can, how I can grow from it. But anyway, let's go to chapter 3. So chapter 3 here, let me take a moment. Let's see if we can invite some people. Look, you guys are watching me as I ping people that I don't know to this room. Okay, so, all right. I pinged a couple of people. We don't know if anyone's gonna join, but that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead to chapter 3. So chapter 3, how do I know? How do I know it's real, these feelings that I feel? These emotions that run so deep, depriving me of my sleep. How do I know it's not an attraction, simply a chain reaction, an infatuation, imagination that remains from physical satisfaction? How do I know that it's different, reality or something invented? What have you done to secure my trust? Why am I so dedicated to us? You look at me like I genuinely matter, not like an object or something to shatter, not like a thing you toss in the trash, not like a punching bag when you're mad. You hold me like I am a prize, always sincerity in your eyes. You ask about my day, make me feel missed when I'm away. You accept me for who I am. You don't pretend to be my friend. You keep a smile upon my face. You give my child a warm embrace. You appreciate what I do. You don't treat me like I owe you. You are my blessing from up above, created by God for me to love. Comments from the author. I was actually crying when I wrote those words. I realized the importance of being around someone based on the conscious choice he or she made. That person is not judging you. You can put on anything you have in your closet and that person will still look at you with adornment. I was winning when I met him. He brought sunshine to my life and then love flowed through me. Imagine being in a relationship with someone that finds it offensive for his girlfriend to look up when another man is talking to him, or finds it offensive for a woman to wear anything other than baggy sweatpants and sweatshirts that were 3 sizes too big, or finds it to be disrespectful to wear anything pink, which happens to be my favorite color in addition to the color purple. Imagine holding the most important treasure in your arms, walking away from someone that betrayed your trust, and you feel a push come from behind that causes you to drop your treasure as you both fall to the floor. Imagine being the only person in a relationship working day in and day out to come home and find your partner has betrayed you in ways you can no longer speak about. I met him during a time when I was angry. I was angry at life, at love, at men, and I wanted to have fun again. I wanted to wear clothes that actually fit me as I was 50 pounds lighter. I wanted to be free from judgment and disrespect. I wanted to be free from the expectations that had been placed upon me by others. When I met him, laughed with him, and danced with him, I felt alive and free for the first time. I smiled so much, and I haven't stopped smiling since that night. This is how I knew I loved him. That is how I knew that I had never experienced what love felt like until him. He was complex, but loving him was easy. It felt like we were two wild and free horses running together infinitely, and it still feels that way. We all have these instincts within us telling us when things are wrong and when things are right. It's not too often that we want to listen when we are told not to pass go or not to collect $200. But ultimately, we know the right decisions to make even when we don't want to make it. I did not listen to my instincts before I met him, but I was ready to listen now. Falling in love with him was the right choice. A time for reflection. Think of a time where you allowed yourself to be in a friendship or relationship with someone that did not treat you well. What made you stay in that situation? How long did you stay in that situation? How many of these types of situations have you been in? And are you currently surrounding yourself around people who add value and reciprocity to your life? If not, why not? So let's just talk about that for a moment. So we're done with the reading. I'm actually just going to talk to you guys for a moment, and in regards to that self-reflection aspect. As far as the relationships you are in, the relationships that you involve yourself in, it's very important to surround yourself around people who add value. And I can't say that enough. I will say that quite often, actually, because who you are around, it really impacts the direction where you're going. Like wherever you're trying to go in life, especially if you're trying to grow, you're trying to be better, because you have these outcomes, these goals, these dreams that you're trying to achieve, right? And when you are surrounded by people who do not add value to you, it makes it very difficult for you to achieve those goals. It makes you actually go slower. And it's just, why do we do that? You know, we call it love, we call it whatever we call it, right? We put this name on it. I actually call this white lies, purple truths. We tell ourselves these white lies as to why we're in these situations, when the purple truth of the matter is, it's not love. If it's not valuing you, it's not adding to you. You have one life to live, like one life. You have one chance to structure your life and the people around you, your environment. You have one opportunity to do this so you can get to where you need to go. So if you have a goal of, for example, for me, a journey to 100K, I cannot be around people who are not talking about different ways to elevate yourself, different ways to make money, different strategies. How can I achieve my goals if I surround myself around people that are just want to know the latest, love and hip hop, what's going on, and not trying to utilize it, to I don't know, elevate themselves in some way. Are you watching Love and Hip Hop because you yourself want to create a reality show? That's awesome. What are you learning from that? Are you watching Love and Hip Hop because, for example, I created, if Love and Hip Hop were poetry, I analyzed different characters and wanted to challenge myself on creating poetry about those different characters. If I were to give advice to one of them, what would I say? Even just watching the show, what information would I give? What value could I add? Even, though people may not agree with that, with the words that I say in regards to the poetry I created for certain characters, it doesn't matter. I wanted to find a way to utilize this to add value. And that's really what we should be doing in life. We should be finding our people, our tribe, our environments that put us in a situation that elevate us, that help us to grow. And for a long time, guys, I was not doing that. I was not. And I didn't realize it because I felt like I was just comfortable. I was comfortable with the people that I'd known for years. I was comfortable in the environments that I had been in for a long time. And I felt over time that I wanted to get out. You know what I mean? I wanted something different for my life. And I think that's the moment when you want something different for your life. That's the moment where you start to analyze everything. You start to analyze the people that you talk to. You start to analyze the environments that you're in. You really recognize, like, man, this isn't serving me. This isn't helping me. Like, this is actually bringing me down. This is draining my energy. I don't have energy to focus on my life and my goals and my outcomes. You know what I mean? What I want to do, because I have all this energy invested in, you know, this situation. I'm a mediator for this, and I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not like a licensed mediator, but I'm giving so much energy into all these different situations, and I don't have enough energy to put back into myself. And that became a problem. And I recognized that problem, and I wanted something different. And I feel like by me recognizing that and taking the steps to change those situations, those environments, and even now, like, stepping out of my comfort zone and just speaking to you guys and not really focusing on the things that don't matter at this time, at this moment. You know what I mean? It really puts you in a situation where you're now exercising that muscle of speaking to people. You're exercising that muscle, that energy that you have, that energy to serve, you know, to put the content out that you need to content. You're exercising that muscle of, man, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I've just, you know, been, you know, holding myself back. You recognize, you take accountability. You recognize your ability to take accountability, to self-reflect, to recognize, like, man, okay, I could do this. I can make these changes. I can make these adjustments. Listen, I always talk about working in solutions, but you can't work in a solution to a problem that you don't recognize that you have. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know that there's a problem, it's going to be difficult for you to find a solution for it. You know what I mean? It's like someone being in denial. Like, if a person is in denial about something, how can you work on a solution? You don't know that there's a problem. You understand? So when you surround yourself around people who will also hold you accountable, people who also want the best for you, they're going to tell you about yourself. I don't want to be around anyone that's not going to vocally tell me, hey, you're slipping. You know, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And listen, I'm doing this, and I look at you like you add value to me. But if you're not adding value to yourself, how can I find you valuable? And I'm going to end up going this way, in this route, and you're going to get left behind. You understand? You have to surround yourself around people who are going to be honest with you and tell you that, hey, you don't get it together. Like, hey, I got to leave. It's almost like being on a cruise ship, right? The cruise ship has a destination. Think of it like that, right? So the cruise ship, you get on there, there's a destination, there's a time, there's a day. You're going to stop here, you're going to stop at this island, and you're going to be here only for a certain period of time, right? And if you are not back on that boat at that designated time, you will get left. You will get left, right? Because the boat can't wait for you to get it together. You have the information. You need to use that information to either, if you're going to sightsee, plan accordingly. You have 5 hours here. You have 24 hours here. We're going to sleep overnight here. We're going to be here. Whatever it is, you have the itinerary, right? And if you don't have the itinerary, I don't know what to tell you. You better just stay on the boat so you don't get left. But look, that's how life is, though. That's how you have to surround yourself with people who, they are the boat, they have a destination. And if you as long as you follow along and you're back when it's time to go or whatever like that, cool, you can stay on the boat. You can journey with the boat on that destination. But if you take too much time to do something and you're late, you don't get on that bus, you're going to just have to figure it out. I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you could catch us on the next route. I don't know how you're going to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? But you got to think about it like that. I have people who, they have their own outcomes, right? And, being around those people, I can mesh, I can maneuver, having my own outcomes, and I can maneuver and, what is it I'm trying to say? I can connect with those people. I can naturally fit into that journey because we're all the outcome is to go like up, right? And as long as I'm intertwining and have direction, I can go up, alongside those individuals. I can't, allow anything to pull me back and weigh me down, because if it does, I'm going to miss the next stop. You understand? I'm going to miss the next stop. There's a destination in place. There's an outcome in place. And I had to ask myself, man, what is it that I haven't done? I know what I'm doing. I know what's not working. What have I not tried to see if it works? And this scenario today is what I tried, as you guys see. So no one has come into the room. That's perfectly fine. I don't even know if I put the settings right. I don't know. I don't know if it's a technical error or the fact that I haven't been as vocal. I haven't been as present. So a lot of people don't know, who I am. They need to understand, the value that I have to offer. They can't understand the value that I have to offer if I'm not consistent in offering that value. Makes sense? It makes sense to me, which is why I'm not tripping that it's one person here, which is me, right? It's okay, because I'm gonna use this, first of all, to tell myself, you know what? You did it, you figured it out, you got the display on there. Now what are you gonna do next? Are you gonna stop here, or are you gonna keep going? Is there another platform that you can use this for? I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. I know that there are different programs where I can go live on different platforms at one time. I haven't yet figured that out. When I do, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. So the last thing that I did prepare is I want to read you guys something. And I want you to just think about it after I read it, right? I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about it and ask yourself the questions that I'm going to ask you in the beginning and at the end. Okay. Are you ready to recognize the problems within yourself in order to find the solutions for you? Before you answer, I want you to answer this. Are you ready to purposely place yourself in an uncomfortable situation just so you can grow? I mean, you're willing to go out on the battlefield with no shield, no weapon, with the intention to fight so you can prove how mean to you. What do you mean, Destiny? You're probably thinking. Why would I purposely hurt myself, and how could hurting myself actually help me? I'll tell you. You say you're ready, but you're scared to ask the person closest to you what your flaws are. You say you're ready, but you won't ask the people you spend the majority of your time with and put your energy into how you can grow from their perspective. You're scared to ask what they see that you don't. You're scared because you don't know what the response will be. I lost my place, guys. Hold on a second. I hope it, look, for the people that were like, man, yeah, I'm thinking about this, that probably totally threw you off. So hold on. All right, so you're scared to ask what they see that you don't. You're scared because you don't know what the response will be. You're scared that the response will be the truth. And I get it. The truth hurts, and you don't know if you're ready to face it. Let me explain something to you. Fear is preventing you from being better. Fear is preventing you from growing. I asked my husband, one of the most honest people I know, the person who is with me every day, from his perspective, what are some areas where you feel I can grow and develop? I knew the answer would make me emotional because he would be direct without emotion. I also had no need to sugarcoat. He also had no need to sugarcoat with me. He just won't do it. I can count on him to give me exactly what I asked for, which is the truth from his perspective. In doing that, let me tell you about the problems he was able to help me recognize. I recognize that I need to be more attentive as a mother. I recognize if I expect my daughter to keep her room clean, fold her clothes, and put them away, that my clothes should be folded and put away as well. My bedroom should be clean. I recognize that I don't have a schedule. I don't have a specific routine that I follow every day. I recognize that by not having a routine, by not having a schedule, I end up saying things like, hey, I'm not going to post as much on this platform because I need to focus more energy on YouTube. But in actuality, I'm basically hindering my own growth by limiting myself. What I should be saying is, okay, there are a lot of platforms where I can be impactful. How much time do I need to block for YouTube? How much time do I need to block out for Instagram? How can I maximize that time so I can also record my podcast? How can I maximize that time so I can write more books? How can I maximize my time so I can teach? I do this by creating a schedule. I dominate by having a routine. I execute by having a plan that includes all of the steps to achieve the outcome. Before I asked my husband to tell me the truth about where I could improve from his perspective, I honestly thought I was grinding hard. I thought I was clear about the steps I needed to take in order to achieve my outcome. I recognize that although I continue to improve, there are processes and systems I can put in place that will make me better, that will help me achieve my outcome faster. I recognize that I am grinding, but I'm not grinding hard. I'm grinding comfortably and then complaining about the mediocrity that follows. Then he asks, what is your goal? I said, I'm working towards making 100K by the end of the year. He said, okay, and how are you going to make this 100K? For every answer I gave him, he followed up with a question. And sometimes I had an answer and sometimes I did not. I understand by asking that uncomfortable question, not only to myself, but to the person I spend the majority of my time with, I was able to discover the problems that are preventing me from reaching my full potential. When you know the problems, you can focus on the solutions. And how do you know what the problems are if you don't ask? How can you grow if you don't constantly seek improvement? In order to improve, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be ready to place yourself in the line of fire so you can light the fire. Now I want you to answer the question I asked in the beginning. Are you ready to recognize the problems within you in order to find the solutions for you? So guys, that is going to be all for today. I'm actually on the other screen. I can see, I don't know, it's saying an error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will be experiencing buffering. So hope you guys are having a good experience. We are going to look, we have a starting point. Okay, so we have a starting point. I'm going to continue to work on this, make things better for you, give you guys content, give you guys hopefully information that you will retain, you will find valuable. Another thing that I am going to be doing, which I'll go ahead and mention now, is I will be creating a challenge. I was going to do a 5-day challenge, but I decided to make it a 3-day challenge, and that will be my starting point. If I decide that I need more days, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But for now, the purpose of the challenge is going to help people who want to create a book, but they don't really know how to start. They don't really understand, what goes in it. How do I get these ideas, this information, these experiences outside of my mind and get them on paper so I can actually see it in front of me and really go from there. That is what the purpose of the challenge will be. In the interim, I'm also creating a course that will help you do these things, that will kind of walk you through the steps of getting everything out of your head, like a brainstorming phase, an interviewing phase, asking yourself questions, a number of different techniques and exercises and assignments that will help you on your journey to becoming an author, or give you more ideas if you are currently an author. Maybe you have a different method of getting your thoughts out, and my goal is to help inspire you, give you new strategies, new ways to come up with new ideas so we can have more amazing books by new authors. That's exciting. So I definitely want to help people do that. I didn't really have anyone to help me in the process. I kind of figured out things as I went along. So now that I've put out a few books and I've learned how to repurpose content that I have, I want to help guide people who have no clue, who haven't done any of that, who are still like wanting to do something. They want to write a book, but they don't really know how to go about it. I will say that I feel the easiest way, man, the first way to start building wealth and just build a legacy, you know what I mean, for yourself, for your kids, like to leave something behind, is digital content, is to create a book, write a book. And I know that it can feel overwhelming. Writing a book, it doesn't have to be, 1,000,000 pages. It doesn't. Actually, it could be 30 pages. A children's book is 30 pages. I want you to understand that you can do this. You can do anything. That's, we could do anything. Men created, oh my gosh, buildings and internet. And there's so many different things that a physical being has created. So that I want you guys to stop self-sabotaging and telling yourself what you can't do and focus on the things that you can, and whatever it is, the challenges where it's like, man, I really need more information in order to get this. I want to be a source of information for you, especially with that, with that process, because it's something that I've done. There are things that I've learned. There are methods that I use that I don't really hear people talk about. And I know that they can help you because they help me. And that's the whole thing. The whole goal of life, I feel, is to definitely gravitate towards your passion and then give back. All the information that you learn in order for you to execute your passion, living your purpose, focus with intent to achieve those outcomes, is giving back that information to help somebody else who wants to do the same, to make life easier. It's almost like parenting. When you go through the struggles as a parent, you don't want your kids to go through those same struggles. So you try to give them as much information as you can, even though they still will do the things that they want to do, despite the fact you're telling them, no, this is not the right way. Like, you are not going to get there doing that by doing this, you know what I mean? But that's the whole, the whole beauty of them, learning how to figure it out. But you take the time and you give them those resources so they can learn from you and they can be better than you, right? And that's what I want. The people who have not written a book are still trying to figure it out. Maybe they're overwhelmed just by the idea of publishing a book. I want you to get that information out. I want to help you. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and end this live so I can look at it, review it, and see how I can grow from it. I thank you guys so much for joining. That's all I got. On that note, I'm out.